Guys, you are listening to the sounds of K Soul. To the sunlight. Ooh, y'all, I got some static going on, but it's all good. Sitting in the rain, can't come out into the sunlight, 'cause you never leave me. Yes, blood in my veins, guys. That is K Soul, baby. That was K Soul with blood in my veins. Well, guess what? I told you today was a double take, and it definitely is. So, you are getting ready to hear from a spectacular young lady. And she is a San Antonio native. She is a vocalist. She is a songwriter. And she's never been a stranger to the world of music. In her bio, she embraces the fact that she grew up around music, but not that just that she grew up around music. She prides herself on her ability to produce music and truly produce music that's practical and fit for the listeners. You might be surprised that she was briefly in the group 702. So when you see this familiar face, embrace her. She has a brilliant spirit and a beautiful smile. I present to you Miss Tiffany Villareal. Hey! How are you, girl? I got some static going on over here, child.
I love all the colors. I love it. I love it. It's so good to see you.
Oh,
I've been looking
thank
forward to
you.
this so much.
It's
I'm
good to
really
see you as
excited
well.
to talk with you. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad. I'm so glad. And you know what, Tiffany, I want to jump right in because
Let's jump right in, girl. Let's jump right
you
in.
you have just been an inspiration. It seemed like since the day we spoke, after we spoke, I probably got 5 or 6 messages, and it has been crazy ever since in a good way. So, whatever that catalyst was, whatever that spirit is that you threw over on me, I thank you for it. I thank you for it.
I would say
Who
that's just
is
God,
Tiffany?
honey.
Who is Tiffany? Tell us who Tiffany is.
Tiffany is a woman who loves God, who loves people, and who wants to add value to people and use her gifts, whatever that is. And it's not just one. We all don't have just one gift. There's many to unwrap and unravel and discover. One of my gifts is music, and I take that it's not, I don't take it lightly. I definitely believe that music is a huge, it can be a huge influence over people's lives. So
Absolutely.
I'm really aware and cautious of the words and the messaging that I want to put out there. So that's a part of who I am. I'm also a mom. Um, and I'm a driven person, an ambitious person. I'm a person who finally in her 40s, after a lot of heartbreak and disappointment, um, discovered her worth and her value. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to share the lessons that I've learned through any channel that I can with the world, because I feel like the information that we get and the healing that we get is not for us. It's for us to
Oh,
also, it's transactional to help heal others. We want to share what it is that we
mm,
have, whether it's through conversation, whether it's through music, through making a
mhm,
movie, something. That's a
mm.
definite way to communicate to the broken parts of us. Yeah. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't mean to
So,
get so deep right in the beginning, but that's
no,
another
but
part
that's
of who I
perfect.
am. It's.
That's perfect. That's perfect because one of the things that I really want to make sure that we describe and discuss is you've had an interesting journey in the industry. So, Tiffany, what I want to do today is I want the people, and particularly the independent artists,
Mm-hmm.
my females out there, my singers, and even my
Mm,
female rappers, dancers, or what have you.
yeah.
Tiffany, I need you, if you will, to walk them through the moment you got picked up by the industry. And
Yeah.
then I want you to talk about the moment you got in the industry and figured out this isn't what my spirit feels
Right.
comfortable with. And just I want you to speak. I'm not gonna interject. I want you to speak.
Um. Well, that's a pretty heavy um, statement there slash question. So
Mhm.
I want to make sure that I can just give you just the truthful, honest answer as best as I can. And I don't want to miss anything. So I'll start from the first part of your question was uh, how I began the journey in the industry. The industry, when I got signed for the first time, I was 20. So the industry was really different back then than it is now, which actually, if you think about it, it's actually a really good time to be an artist. Back then, there was a format and there was kind of like this way, industry way of doing things. And if you didn't
Yeah.
follow suit with that, then you're just either dropped or you got to play by their rules. So it's a really beautiful time for um, anyone who's in the arts, because you don't need a huge company behind you. There's so many different platforms out there for you to express your artistry and just be your own boss in a way, which is a beautiful thing because you're totally responsible and the boss of your artistry versus being under people who just look at numbers and want to make a hit. But what if that hit is hurting communities and culture and people? So
Mm.
it's a good time for people in the industry to, or not people who do the arts, who are in the arts, to just kind of venture away from that pathway, if that makes any kind of sense. If that
It
makes any
makes
sense.
perfectly good sense.
So
Perfect sense.
sometimes I wish, but like I guess you don't really need to. Like it's a really good time. It's a good time. I would just use as many platforms as you can and share your gifts. And it's not about like, oh, you want to be signed to this person, signed to this person. Being true to your artistry is the most important thing. Back then, I think really the only outlet was to be signed by one of the five major labels. I mean, literally back then it was like, here's my demo. Here, I need to perform for you right now in front of crowds. Nowadays, it's totally different. You've got your social media, you have, you got YouTube. There's so many different ways that you can just share with the world, build your own audience.
Absolutely.
So it's a good time, and it's a beautiful time, and I definitely think that it's God is moving in that. area too, because the arts and and all of that he created. So to have these platforms now is a good time, because we can actually take back and say things that we really want to say, versus, oh well, how do we just make this money? How do we make a hit? How do we get in the clubs? You know?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Did I answer it? Did I miss
You did.
anything?
No, you definitely did. I think it's important for people to understand that, you know, I think sometimes independent artists and up and coming artists look at mainstream artists and they only see the glitz and glam. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you very seldom hear people talk about the struggle. You very seldom hear people talk about the fact that you might be signed by an entity, but if you don't follow all of their rules and do everything that they want you to do, and if you don't conform to their ways, they will unsign you real quick.
Yes, yes. And also a person who, for me, I fell into this. If you don't know who you are and the type of artist that you want to be, what they say, you will take everything that is said or done to heart. And then you start to question your gifts and talents and say, oh, well, this might not be good enough. So it's really important to know who you are as an artist and never let anybody try to speak um, against that. And people do not see
Wow.
what's behind the what's behind the screen. There's a lot that people don't talk about, but a lot of people, I think, including myself when I was younger, was fascinated by the illusion of what this type of um, field could bring you: happiness, um, financial stability, um,
Hmm.
um, freedom to express yourself. But there's so many strings behind the scenes, people that want to pull from. I mean, you're the talent, but they, like, there's machines behind it. And if you don't follow the rules of the machine, then either you'll get cut off, you get dropped, you get blacklisted, you get all kinds of, Um, and for me, I didn't like the industry too much. I didn't, it wasn't really a reflection of my heart. Now, I love music, and I definitely believe in the power of music, but the industry can be a little dark. Maybe
That's it.
it's all about the money. It's all about getting the hits, but it's not about, well, how can we impact our communities? Name a song. What's the hottest song right now where it's impacting the community in a positive way? I don't know. I'm asking you. I'm gonna interview you.
Oh, well, it's not impact. It's not a hit song, but I love "Protect" app with Raj Will, and it's a song literally about the Protect app, where you actually, wherever you are, if I'm not mistaken, I want to make sure I get it right. Wherever you are, if you see something going on with the police and a civilian, you dock your location and everything, and you let the app know where you are, and it's supposed to protect you because I guess it'll send, people will come, or people can start chiming in and they can see where you are so that they can start reporting the same location or something like that. But
Yeah,
that's my favorite song right now. And you just
yeah,
heard Queso Music, Blood in My Veins. The
yeah.
song that you heard coming on, that
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to really fall in love with independent artist music because independent artists have a story to tell and they're really telling their story. A lot of mainstream artists aren't writing their own music. They have songwriters. You're the songwriter and the singer. So you write your music. So your music is telling your story. And I know that you said it's always been a source of your inner peace.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you did when you were like, okay, you know what? This industry is not it. Let me create my own sound in my own lane. What did you do, Tiffany?
One thing that I realized is that the gifts that I have, the gifts that everyone has, the gifts that God gave are for me, and no one can take those away. So no matter what choices I make, those gifts that were given to me will always be with me, whether I'm with the signed or not. whether I have a manager or not. So when I realized that God had already empowered me, I decided to honor him in a way and do music that was a reflection of my heart versus, all right, you got to go in the studio at this time and you're going to sing this song and you just got to play ball. So some people said, Tiff, that's crazy. Why don't you just play ball? Why don't you just sing this song? Why don't you just wear that outfit? Why don't you just talk like this? But it wasn't me. So basically, I had to become this character that was not me. I can't imagine being 50, 60, still playing a role of a character that I've outgrown. It's just not a reflection of my heart. And I know too
That's it.
much. So I decided either if I can change someone's life with one song and it's one person who heard it and someone responded to it, then I feel like I'm doing it and responded in a way where it's bringing healing and hope, then I'm honoring my gifts. That's just for me. That's what I did. And talk about that inner peace because I'm in control. So I can do music when I see fit. I'm not at the mercy of anyone telling me where to go, what time to be there, who to, what to say. I decided I wasn't going to be a puppet, that I was going to really steward my gifts well. I was going to steward them in a way that would honor and glorify God, even if that means to walk away from hundreds of thousands of dollars in deals and endorsements and all kinds of stuff. Because if God is for you, who can be against you? And that sometimes that means going against what I guess the illusions of the world want to display. Every time you
Mm.
open up your phone and look on your computer or on TV, they have these images of how you should be and where you should be and how you should act. But it wasn't a reflection of my heart. And sometimes all of those things don't bring peace. You could go there all day and pursue all day, but how many times have we heard stories about celebrities who are, you know, struggling, checking themselves into rehab, or not having
Well,
healthy relationships, or they're bankrupt? Just because you're rich and famous and you're signed to a certain record label does not mean that you have it all together and this is what we need to be doing. So, inner peace is that those are the true riches. Those are the true riches when you have inner peace. And tangible things and fame and money aren't really going to give you peace. They're resources, it's a tool, but it's not the way to inner peace. So, I decided to take that route, and it's less stress. I'm more in control of my schedule. I can be a mother to my child, and I can work on me, and I can work on cultivating. I play the guitar, I play the piano, and it's great. Yeah.
so Tiffany, you know, first and foremost, I have to say thank you for your words of
Oh,
encouragement to
thank
me.
you. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
you you spoke to me when you spoke to me. You basically said no. There's something about this spirit here, and I'm thinking the same thing because I expected our conversation to be 3 minutes, and then
It
we
was
book
like
a date.
45 minutes. 45 minutes. It's as if I knew you already.
Yep.
Like we had been
Yeah.
friends for a long time, and I love when we meet people like that. There's really just beautiful souls out here, and you
Yes.
are one of them. And I really appreciate what
Oh,
you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing, and this is really beautiful. I'm really excited just with what you've got going on.
well, thank you for being here. But let's talk about what you have going on. Because look, I know that little one is probably somewhere like, you know what, mommy? I'm gonna give you 10 more minutes, and then I'm coming. But let's talk about Wildflower. Tell the world about Wildflower.
Well, you want me to be honest with you? I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
So, Wildflower, during that time, it was a lot of like a metamorphosis for me. During that time, I was going through a divorce, and I was raising my son. He was 3, 2, 3, really young. And so it was a huge transition for me. A lot of life change. So I went from just strictly doing music, then to getting married, then to getting a divorce, then to raising a child, and having to deal with a lot of internal grief and loss and disappointment. And one of the ways that helps me heal, along with therapy and prayer, is music. So Wildflower was birthed through the metamorphosis of me becoming my true, authentic, unapologetic self. And Wildflower really is a reflection of my heart. And if you listen to the words, I wrote the EP with one of my really good friends. Her name is Tara Stinson. Tara, she's a Grammy Award winning songwriter. She works with Oprah, and I mean, she's incredible and extremely talented. And when I brought the ideas to her, we just sat and we worked through my little window. I had a little window from 10 to 2. And because after 2, it was just straight mom mode. So I only had 4 hours to write, to record, and I did everything in my home. Like the recording part and the writing part, I did all within my bedroom. I learned how to record myself and everything because we find ways. We find ways to get the healing out, to process. So I wasn't going to let not having access to a studio stop me. So we wrote together, and it's just a compilation of 5 songs, and then I have little interludes in there. But for me, nature is another way that I find healing. So when you listen to the interludes, you'll hear, sounds of water and wind and fire and elements. I love nature and what it can do to the human spirit. It's important, I think, to be out, and I definitely find healing in that. I wanted to bring that into the music. And one of my favorite songs, probably my favorite song on the EP, is called Love Me More. And I personally feel like a lot of people resonate with that because deep down, I think when you're in a relationship and you can feel the dissonance between you and the other person, you know deep down that you might need to fight more for yourself. You might need to set more boundaries for yourself. You might need to value yourself more um, than what you're allowing yourself to have. So that was a conversation, an internal conversation I was having with myself. Like, how many more times are you going to cry? How many more times are you going to be brokenhearted? How many times are you going to spend another Saturday night alone? How many times? So, I said to myself, you love this person, but you need to love yourself more. And I feel like, especially with a lot of women, because we give and we love, and we will just give, and we forget to love and care for ourselves. So that was a really, and it's got this really um, intense but passionate Spanish guitar right in the beginning. And so it's heartfelt and it's real. I remember when I recorded that, it's going to sound really crazy, but I was like deep in depression because I was going through a divorce, and I think I hadn't showered in and this is going to sound crazy, I hadn't showered in 2 days. And I was just no makeup, and I was just crying. I didn't eat. And all I wanted to do, after my son was off at preschool, I would go and I would record. Who cares right now about anything else? I want to finish this. I have 4 hours. So I did. And I'm proud of the fact that I was able to really get in touch with what I really felt, because it's so hard to get there. It's so hard to get there. And it's if anybody hasn't heard it, it's streaming on Spotify or any music platform it's on. So there's a lot of other ones in there too, but I'll just talk about that one because I don't know how much time we have. So
No, No, it's fine. It's fine. I really was trying to really put it
Tell me.
all together. Trying
Yeah.
to put it all together because I know that we talked about a lot of um, the struggle, right? We
Yeah.
talked about a lot of the having to pull deep
Hmm.
from deep down within
Hmm.
and really speak, speak.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to speak when everything has been suppressed for so long.
Right.
It takes days, weeks,
Sometimes
months, years
years.
for you to process
Sometimes
through that stuff.
sometimes years, sometimes decades, and sometimes we will mask the pain in alcohol, in drugs, in men, in denial. So it's an act of courage to really sit down and work through the internal things. And a lot of the times, including myself, I didn't grow up with that type of verbiage, with that type of those types of tools. I'm the pioneer in the family, where you discuss things. So, new ways to express myself and find those things that were kind of barriers between what I really wanted in life and keeping me stuck. It was, it's a huge, I'm paving a pathway that I've never seen before. So I just want to share things with other people too, because there's resources out there, and a lot of it is within, and a lot of this is up too. Yeah, but there's with music, there it's not all struggle. Like it's been really a beautiful process too. And I just want to talk really quickly about the 702 thing because it says, I know it says right there, formerly
Please,
702.
go. Let's let it rip. Let it rip. Because I knew, one of the things that I will say, and shout out everybody. We are rocking it out. Prime time with your girl Lily Mae and Tiffany Villareal. And the thing about it is, certain things, and I tell people this all the time. Being on the clinical side of things, I never probe too much. I like for things to be fluid. I like for it to be
Yes.
organic. And when you're ready to speak on it, I love for you to speak. So let it rip. Let it
Okay.
rip.
Well, so I was in 702 for just maybe like 2 minutes. Not really 2 minutes. It was like, a couple of months. I was in 702 for a couple of months. But um, especially my friendship with Mila, we've been friends since we were in high school. I mean, we used to drive in her little mom's car, and we used to go get chicken fingers and fries for lunchtime. And, we still talk on the phone. She's got a son as well. And, we're both born in March, and we've just really kept a dialogue since high school, and it's been 20 plus years. But I remember the experience. I remember the moment, and it was funny because they had on TV1 there was an episode with, and so they had interviewed me because the interview there was a lot of there was a couple, not a lot, there was a couple of other people who were involved in 702. Um, so I was one of them. So they just interviewed me, and it was really cool to kind of scroll down memory lane. But my memory
Yep.
is so bad because I hardly remember. I when they were asking me, I'm like, oh gosh, I need to remember. I'm like the girl from 50 First Dates, Drew Barrymore. You ever seen that movie? 50, like
No.
I forget easily. And then if like I have to go that far back. It's crazy. So, and I'm just being totally honest. But I do remember. I do remember the friendship. I do remember that was my first real experience with the industry, with the music industry. And so for me, I was 15. I was 15. Um,
I
and
didn't know. I thought you were at least 19.
no, no, no,
Wow.
no. I think was I 15? How old are you when you're a junior? Is it a junior or
15, 16. Well, 16. Yeah, 15,
yeah,
16.
15 or
Yeah.
16? I was a sophomore or a junior in high school. Um, but yeah, I remember that. I remember I was really young, and I remember even then, like you have to watch your weight. and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about like um, just being. I learned a lot about being disciplined in your craft. So whatever that is, like so you work on your voice, um, you work on your body, you work on like just all of that. Like it was instilled in you just to
Mm-hmm.
do. So there was some really good parts that you could glean from in that. But yeah, it was a very interesting time. It was a very
Absolutely.
interesting time, but I think I was really insecure too because yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of growth that happened within. I know.
Wow.
Why are you looking like that? You're like, huh?
No.
Because I remember like um, I remember there was moments where like you don't really fit in. Like those were conversations that were said to me from the executives. Like, okay, well, I don't understand the Spanish girl being in this group. Like she don't fit in. So we're gonna have to make her fit in. So I remember like, I went and I got a tan because they told me I needed to get a tan. They told me I needed to fix my hair. They told me I needed to do all kinds of stuff, but it still wasn't good enough. So then they were like, Tiff, you're not working out. So I tried everything they wanted me to, but it still didn't work. So, especially being that young, if you don't know who you are and they're telling you all of the things that's wrong with you, like
It'll break you.
then
Yep.
it and so that was an imprint that happened starting even at that very young age, and it started to transfer into relationships. And even then, like I ended up getting 3 record deals after that, but still in the back of my mind it was like, oh, but you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not this enough, you're not that enough. And here's my son.
I know it. I told you. I said 10 minutes. I said 10 minutes, and he was coming. Hi.
Hi.
I knew it. 10 minutes. I told you. I told you it was gonna be 10 minutes.
Yes, we'll be there. We'll be there in 10 minutes. We'll be there 10 minutes, okay? Yeah.
So Tiffany, I
Sorry.
think if it's safe to say, your message to the world is be true to who you are, and don't let the industry define what you need to be.
Be true to who you are. Be unapologetically yourself, and don't let the industry tell you who you need to be. Yeah, know who you are. And don't be afraid to use your voice and say, I'm not okay with that. That's not going to work with me or work for me.
I know that's right.
Yeah,
That's
I think I would say that, and keep creating and make some beautiful things. Please, we need more beautiful creators to, because that sometimes is the only way that people, not everybody's going to go to a therapist.
right.
So
Oh
we
no,
might as well put good messages out there to help people get through. Yeah, and I
that's
know
it.
there's great messages out there. There is. Yeah.
So, Tiffany, first and foremost, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know we'll continue to dialogue, but let everybody know where they can find you on social media and where they can find your EP again.
Okay. Wildflower is streaming on all music platforms. And you can find me. I'm on Instagram, Tiffany.Villareal. That's main my main social media platform of choice. And then we've got Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm everywhere. But my main two are Instagram and Twitter.
That. So, guys, you heard from Tiffany. She is dope. She is wonderful. And listen to her music and listen to the words. Listen to the words because they come straight from not her heart, but her soul. Tiffany, thank you so much. You
So
were
much.
my two a day. You were my two a day.
Yes. Thank
And
you
I
so
will
much.
talk to you soon. Oh,
Okay.
you're so welcome.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay.
Have a good
You
Saturday.
too.
All right, guys. So you heard from Tiffany Villareal, and it was awesome. It was spectacular. We had a ball, and I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something that you can take away. And remember, as always, prime time is consulting time, and all things authentic All platforms are here to give you joy, jewels, and justice. Have a happy rest of your day, everyone.